Tears in my eyes. Scott McTominay, Scudetto, champion of Italian football. Wow. Welcome to the Late Night Lounge here on Latte Firm, Friday the 23rd of May. I am happy and my football knowledge vindicated once again. Can't wait to hear these two schmucks in the background and get their thoughts on that. Welcome to the show. What a week it's been. And it's finally here. The last weekend of this Premier League season, the final match day for Arsenal as we head to Southampton on Sunday. And we will look forward to having our feet up, popcorn on the sofa, because it's going to be a box office television sesh watching those teams battle it out for Champions League football next season. Lots to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about, of course, the final game of the season for Arsenal, talk about all the transfer speculation, a couple of new names coming out of the sort of, gossip rumor mill, if you like, that I want to kind of get your thoughts on. Obviously, the scum. Playing Manchester United in that final. We'll talk a little bit about that, what it means for Manchester United as well. Ruben Amorim, he's in trouble. United are in trouble. Would you nab any of their players? We'll also, what are we going to do? We'll just look ahead to the weekend. Yeah, chill session. Welcome to the show, and let's go straight to the chat. Tamina Ahmed says, hi, FK, how you doing today? I'm good. I've had a lovely day off, chilling, doing some housework, been out for dinner with the kids, and now I'm ready for this show. I hope you've had a fantastic day. She says Gyökeres to Arsenal is imminent, which means that it is about to happen. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he's the man, because Benjamin Sesko might be the new name on the block. Digi Scott, welcome to the show. Enjoy the marvelous content tonight. Far too late for me in China, plus 7 hours ahead, so I'll enjoy over brunch tomorrow instead. Digi Scott has been watching our videos since day one. He always comments in every video. I love you, Scott. You are a king. You are a legend. You are a real bro. I appreciate you. Louis, welcome to the show. Says, I know fans are bored of finishing second, but if Liverpool sign Florian Wirtz, we are finishing third at best. That is a massive statement signing. Hang on. If Liverpool sign Wirtz, how are we finishing third at best? Surely Liverpool would just maybe walk to the title again. Surely we would be best place for runners up. Yembele, why am I in the chat? I don't know what he's talking about. Just make sure the little one is asleep and ready and sound, so we are good to go on this show. Viv Lads in the house says, good evening, guys. This Wirtz news has me concerned. They're moving fast. Come on, you gunners. Listen, at the end of the day, they've not even lifted the trophy, and they're about to spend 150 million euros on a playmaker. You've got to respect it. There is nothing more that I can say. Yamin Yamal in the house, he says, football royalty, don't, please. Mind you, speaking of football royalty, it just had to be Scotty McSauce. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy for him. Paul James says, evening all, I'm at peace with this season as long as we don't mention the winners of a midweek final. Afsar says, FK, horrible few days. I've been mocked almost everywhere by Spurs fans. Sadly, they've won more European trophies than we have. Got to improve our European record, but I cannot see Arteta doing it. Yikes. Karen, welcome to the show. Thank you also, Karen, for your support on Patreon. Really, really appreciate that growing community there. Thank you so much for all of that. For the price of a coffee a month, you can support the channel, of course, if you are watching. Do like the video, subscribe to the channel, get involved in the chat. That is where we are going to stay throughout the majority of tonight's show. But let's bring in Chumps number 1 and Chumps number 2. Number 1, who should I go with first, ladies and gents, boys and girls? He's looking fresh. It's Wembele. Fresh haircut, fresh beard trim. How are we, brother?
I'm good, man. It's payday, so I had to treat myself.
Oh, nice. I'll tell you what else is paying out. Football knowledge, mate. Football knowledge. Scott McTominay. McSauce, McDominate, McScudetto. Champion of Serie A.
Listen,
we
called it Serie A for a reason.
Hey, listen. All I'm going to do, yeah. In fact, where is that goddamn tweet? I remember tweeting about McTominay about 2.5 years ago, and you were like, there we are, of course. No football knowledge, blah, 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 blah. I even liked it for you. How'd you like them apples, eh? Hey.
Listen, man. Lukaku is the best striker in the world, is he?
Let's not talk about Lukaku. Yeah, let's talk about McTominay. Forza Napoli. Well, honestly, this is a guy that I would have absolutely adored at Arsenal. I would have absolutely loved him. I just think, what a player. And I'm so happy that he left those gobshites. He's gone to Italy and he's absolutely tearing it up. Yembele says, not streaming on X. We are streaming on X, Yem. Don't know what's going on there. Yembele, I think, has lost the plot. AP says, do send the link to the guys. Oh, yes. Yes, I was late. Sorry, I was just watching the Napoli celebrations. By the way, that's why I'm late. Appreciate you. But Wayne, how have you been, man? You been good?
Yeah, it's been all right, man. It's been I can't believe how many bank holidays and like days off we've had this month, like for free or whatever. Because
it has been nice, hasn't it? But I mean, there's always that sort of like worry about compressing a 5-day week into 4 days after you've had it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it is great. The only
it is.
downside, obviously, Spurs doing their parade on Monday. That is just ruins the bank holiday. But
No, they're not. They done it today.
Huh?
They done it today.
The trophy parade.
Yes.
Are you winding me up?
No, they done it today.
What? Hang on a second. What are you talking about? Are you
Crystal Palace is on Crystal Palace is on Monday.
I thought they were doing their parade on. There you go. that just sums it all up.
Spurs done it today.
Did they? How many people went? About 10 people. No one even knew about it. Why would you do it on a Friday? What's wrong with them? Okay,
They're gonna rock up so drunk on Sunday in their final. No, they done it today. And do you know what Ange said? He said, what was the exact wording? Season 3 on TV shows is always better than season 2. So he's promising something he's not even going to be there for.
No way, is that what he said? Is he still?
Yeah.
It's not even on the. You're winding me up. It's not even on the BBC website.
Mate, it was today.
Chat, let me know. Is Wayne taking the minute? Let's bring in Yembele. Chump number 2. How are you, Yembele?
I'm all right. Afsar literally said, "Have been dealing with Spurs fans all day, watching the parade."
Oh, did he say parade?
Mate,
I'll be honest with you. I don't even.
The man doesn't even know his chat.
It's just an FK.
Someone mentioned in touch.
I've been mocked almost everywhere. Sadly, they've nothing about parade. What are you talking about?
Just Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Someone in the chat, let me know. Spurs have a parade today.
9 p.m. Afsar tweeted, "I also had to watch the Spurs parade as I work in Tottenham. Nightmare. Have some of that."
No one's saying it in the chat. Listen, chat.
9 o'clock. Afsar.
Yembele level for real, yeah, for real. Come on, we go back since like we were 10 months old.
Have a look.
Did they really have their parade?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
I don't believe it. How come
It started. What time did
it
started at 5. It was on Sky. Well, I haven't watched it. I'm pretty sure it was on Sky Sports News.
It's on every news thing. How does FK not pick up anything?
Yeah, they did. Oh, damn. I mean, well, there you go. That's how big a deal it was. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yembele, how are you, my man? Good week?
Yeah, it's been all right. I mean, today was, strange enough, it was really warm today. I mean, the temperature keeps going up and down, Mate,
and then getting towards the summer. Don't you love it? The sun beaming down and guns out and just feeling great, no?
Guns out.
Mate, the sunshine. Do you know, there's no better feeling, lads, right, than waking up in the morning, opening up your curtains or your blinds or whatever. Obviously, the sort of blinds go up in our household as soon as the sun rises.
Yes, Jeeves opens it.
It's automated, mate. Come on. As soon as your alarm goes off, the blinds just go.
Remember, automation provides with someone pressing the button for him.
He has a violinist come in and wake him up to an.
But honestly, it's so good. When the sun is beaming down, man, there is no better feeling. You just know you're going to have a good day. Ian says, come on, FK, get with the program. I don't even know what's going on tonight. Mike Jones says, imagine having a Europa League parade. Shambles of a club. Well, I knew they were going to do a parade. I just thought it was Monday.
Come on, let's not be silly. If we had won it under Wenger or under Emery, we would have done a parade for it. Let's not be silly now.
But would we, though?
Yes, we would.
Would we have done a parade for the League Cup?
Yeah, we would have.
Not sure.
No, well, no. The only reason we wouldn't is because it's in like February.
Do you know who I respect? You know Crystal Palace, what they're doing. So they're doing the parade, obviously, but they're also having a party on the pitch. For, like they're selling ticket.
But the tickets were free. They weren't selling them, so that's a good thing. But the only reason they're doing that is because the council have shafted them badly.
Yes, I heard about this.
Go on. I haven't heard.
They're only allowed to drive basically down the road that their stadium is on. Yeah. So it's like a bus parade of 45 minutes, and then they can do whatever inside the stadium.
But even then, that's still nice that they get to people on the pitch.
But Crystal Palace should be allowed to go to Crystal Palace Park. Like the council has unfortunately shafted them, but I hope their fans have a great time.
Ian says, like your trim, Wayne.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I don't get any messages like that. A fresh buff as well. Nothing. Andy says, haven't got time to watch live tonight, but popped in just to say McSauce. That is all. Oh, yes. McTominay. What a... Wow. AP says, wow, FK and his luxurious castle. Not quite, but the electric blinds do make a massive difference. Let me tell you.
Electric blinds. What a life. What a life.
Well, look, welcome to the chat, one and all. There are hundreds of you watching already across both platforms. If you're watching on X, do give Latte FM a follow and follow these fine chaps. They're available at Wayne'sWorld20_, co-host of the excellent Can You Believe It podcast, and of course at Verge59. Wayne, we need to get Metro back on. That bandit kind of just makes it a nice bit of chemistry. Yeah, that would be good. And if you're watching on YouTube, please do, of course, get involved in the chat. We will keep the chat active. We'll take some questions from Patreon members at the back end of tonight's show. We'll talk about, of course, the Europa final. Nice to know that the parade was today, but what it means for Arsenal in terms of the pressure now. Did Spurs, did Ange have a better season than Mikel and Arsenal? What now of Manchester United? Any players that you guys would nab from Old Trafford? We'll look ahead to the weekend fixture, of course. There's been transfer speculation. Tamina Ahmed opening the chat by talking about Victor Gyökeres, but of course Benjamin Sesko now is the name. Want to get your thoughts on that, and then we'll look ahead to Sunday's game. Dave says, Alex from the Different Knock posed a question: would you swap seasons with Spurs? I'll tell you what, hold that thought. We will get there. Reggie Perry, that's a new name, says, question: if Inter loses the Champions League final, does that mean the Spurs had a better season than them? Let's not show Nima. Pray for Nima, by the way. All of you guys, if you're tuning in for, if you're new, you won't know, but Nima Tavaloy Rutsari, a friend of ours of the channel, always comes on the breakdown for players that come from Serie A. He is, of course, a massive Inter Milan fan. Their season, it could end on an almighty high, but it could be the worst ending. To lose the title, to lose the Champions League would just be too much for him, I think.
They were on course for a treble 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
It's mental.
Farhan says he can imagine the butler putting FK's glasses on for him.
That's what he does. What do you think happens in the morning? What?
You lot are just, you're too much. Thomason's in the house as well. At least he's not saying bring me Zidane. It's just Legoland needs to go. Legoland is elite.
Yeah.
The what's that? What's that? That lion, Night of the Shining Lion. What's that ride called, Yem?
We will not have Legoland slander on this show.
No,
yeah, Legoland is elite.
That.
Come on,
My
Legoland is
not allowed that. She loves that.
Let's not wake up your daughter. So let's not talk about Legoland. He does go on to say Lego Head needs to go.
Oh,
but there we are. Canterbury Guna, this has caught my eye. Our arrogant fan base needs to give respect to cup competitions.
You tell them.
We should be embarrassed that Spurs have won a European Cup before us. Well, not a European Cup before us, but a cup in more recent years than Arsenal. First trophy in 17 years for them. Viggs is already talking about better season or successful season. I will save that chat and bring it up later. Right, welcome to the show. Let's bring up the slides. There is only I don't even know if I've shared the slides in all the excitement of the Scudetto. Oh no, we've got to do snack check.
We got to go through Yem's embarrassment ritual.
He redeemed himself. Like, what did he have last week again? He had like normal. Oh yeah, he had a normal.
Yeah, the normal.
No, this week's gonna be different again.
Okay. He's all right. Yamin Yamal. I'm going to kick us off. I've just finished dinner because obviously you guys know that. Well, you both know my kids go swimming on a Friday night. So Friday night is takeout night while we watch the 1% quiz show, whatever it's called. Just demolished. And I got my beautiful Pepsi Max just to wash it down. No ice, of course, and a large one. What you got for me, Yamin Yamal?
I have got a Milka Tuck. So that's like.
Oh my God.
You know what? You opened so well by saying you had a Milka, and I was about to say, "Oh, he's got the Milka Mousse." That's just top tier chocolate. A Milka what?
Tuck.
The Tuck biscuits.
It's the Tuck biscuit.
They're savoury. They're a bit like Ritz.
A Ritz and a chocolate. Oh yeah. What
are you doing?
That's just a fake. I've seen that before. That's just no. Come on, man.
What are you doing?
So what? It's just a chocolate with a Ritz biscuit. Is that literally? I can't even. It's
literally look. It's like. So it's just a bit of crunch.
This is your final warning, Yembele. I mean, look, the season's coming to an end, and.
Hey, I'm trying to elevate you guys.
Terence Tibbs This guy's strange.
I elevate you beyond what you can get. You know,
I don't think so.
you don't appreciate
Avstar says snacks, hot spicy chana as I'm frustrated watching Spurs' parade. What else have we got in the chat? Snack Farhan says ruined Milker, ruined Tuck. Got to start doing the Yamin Yamal name justice. That is a yellow card. Raphael says variety is a spice of life. Let me know what you guys are having in the chat for your snack check tonight. Wembele, what you got for us tonight?
I have gone cheap and cheerful, just from the corner shop. 2 packs for £1. I've opened them up upside down. I'm sorry. The sour worms sweet.
You know what? You can't go wrong with just a little, a little bit fizzy sweet. Yeah, mate. I mean, again.
Yeah, cheap and cheerful.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
Like I said, I tried to give you some class, and
no. You
bargain
tried,
basement with you both.
But you couldn't. Paul James says he's gone old school tonight. He's got a wagon wheel. I haven't had a wagon wheel in so long. They are good. Although I can't
find them. I can't find them. Where are they now?
Make Tesco's. Just because we don't all shop at Waitrose. Yeah, they do. They do.
Oh,
mate.
Please. Says Mr. Jeeves. I don't shop at Waitrose.
Dave says his snack check is a Biscoff milkshake. The Biscoff McFlurry is back, and it's pretty good, I got to say. Mike Jones says he's having a Ritter Sport butter biscuit. Oh, what are you washing that down with, Wayne? Hang on.
Mango juice.
Got to come out, mate. The little finger's got to come out. There you go. There he is. Mango juice.
Yeah, got mango juice.
Oh, it's so elite. Shazam.
Rubicon's finest.
Oh, boy. Do you know what? Have you ever tried the fizzy mango juice that Rubicon made?
Yeah. My wife loves that.
I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Vig says he's having a vanilla chiffon cake. Have I pronounced that right? I think so. Yamin Yamal just goes for the utterly bizarre. And Paul James says Sainsbury's and Asda do sell wagon wheels. Ian says he's just had quavers, 2 mandarins, and a Kit Kat chunky. And that is a sensational combination. And Tamina, do you know what? I bought the most beautiful watermelon from Tesco's. Cut it up for the kids. Got 2 packs of Tupperware full of it in the fridge. Gonna devour that after the show. She says she is snacking on watermelon. AP, great shout from deep.
Top tier.
Running in at the back post, sliding in at the back post with the Rubicon Lighty. That is absolutely amazing.
They've also got a what's the other one? Passion fruit, I think it is. It's the purple one. That one is wonderful
is it passion fruit
as well.
No,
so they've got guava as well. Guava isn't that the green one? No. The purple one, the passion fruit one is fantastic though.
Is it? Okay. Now the light is elite. I love the lighty one. But then he's gone and fizzy one.
You ruined it.
You get out of here. Namdi says he's having plantain chips and apple juice. That is, well, I've tried that. Sensational. Which reminds me, Wayne, we've got to get you over in the summer to give you some of the old Indian sweets and get some biryani in you, man. Right. Keep it coming. Mikey, welcome to the show. Says Belgian chocolate shoe buns winging their way to me as we speak. Hopefully of the M&S variety. Terrence says guava has the funny aftertaste. Sam is having grilled pork belly and garlic rice. Now, I don't eat pork. It does sound kind of nice, but belly? Is that...
Pork belly isn't... You would never know, but it's really good.
Is it jellyish, slimy-ish?
No, it's like proper, yeah. It's proper. It's like nicely sliced. It's really nice.
There you go. Okay, right. Enough of the snack check. Let's talk about football. So, welcome to the show. Keep the chat active, like I say. Super chat's always featured, and thank you so much for all of your support on Patreon. If you're watching on X, do get involved in the socials and send your tweets in. The last one has just caught my attention. Tava Ruiz, evening all, drinking a Chamois Michelada. I pronounce that right? First beer of the weekend hits different, I can imagine. And Tanvir says, leftover Sam's chicken wings. Leftover wings. If they're just from a couple of hours ago, fine. If they're from maybe the night before.
Yeah, then it goes a bit weird.
Not sure. Right. Gentlemen, the only place to start, and Nima is going to be most disappointed with this, but did you see Scott McTominay's masterclass?
This is why you were late. This is why you were late.
What I wanted to wait for. What I wanted to wait for was the picture of him holding the Scudetto. The Scudetto. What a player. And Napoli to be crowned champions. Conte, Lukaku. Wow. Inter Milan, they had it wrapped up.
When
but
did Faisal become the PR agent for McTominay?
Mate, I'm telling you, do you know what? There's tweets going back to 2021. 4 years ago, I called it this boy. I called it, 6'4" frame, athletic, endurance, box to box, finisher.
Dead league.
There's
Why
nothing,
are you
there's
doing this?
nothing not to like. There's so much to love about this boy. And I know I said it so many times, like, before we signed Declan Rice, we just need that endurance box to box.
Right.
This guy would have sold it to us.
Come on, let's stop this, because you've
Mate,
got
he's
Billy Gilmore.
class.
Billy
He's
Gilmore
class.
apparently is ripping it up for Napoli as well. Philip Billings and stop McTominay. This is like the barking bucket of midfielders.
Mate, look,
from
Viggs
the
knows. Viggs knows. Scott McTominay is the best box crasher in the world, he says. Fight me. Scotsman. Hope that's not a red flag.
Oh,
I'd
my
take
God.
McTominay. See, Paul James would take him now. Good depth option. I agree, says Afsar. McTominay is a workhorse. Mate, he's got it all.
This.
He has it all.
McTominay is not helping us win a Premier League. Stop it.
Please be.
There's a reason. There's a reason he can know. There's a reason
Wayne,
he can go to Italy and outrun.
Chris Smalling made it in Italy.
No.
Chris
It's the
Smalling
slowest
made
league
it.
in the
Mamma
world.
mia. No.
No one wants
If
us-
McTominay
no one
was in our
wants us to
squad
sign
this
Lukaku.
season, we'd have won the league.
Stop it.
I'm
Stop
telling you, you don't
it.
want to hear it, but them is the facts.
No, they're not. No one wants
He's-
us to sign Lukaku as a striker. You were Vlahovic's biggest fan. Now he's begging us again.
Me? I think you got me
Yes,
wrong with
you.
Sash. I think you got me wrong with Sash.
No.
Listen, Lukaku would have done a job this year. Let me tell you, in the
Go
last
away.
2 months.
Go
in
Honestly,
the last 2
that
months.
we're debating Serie A's viability.
Right, okay. Let's
Tragic.
bring the decorum back. If those of you that are watching this for the first time are thinking, what the hell are these guys doing? I had to put in the old McSauce, McDominate, McScudetto, McChampion. I love it. Let's talk about McArsenal. Okay, well, look, we know these twats won the Europa League in the week, and do you know what? Fair dues. They won the trophy. It is the competition that they are in, and there are one or two of you in the chat who have said we got to respect it, we got to embrace it. That trophies are trophies. Blah, 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 blah. They have won the Europa League. What did you say again, Wayne, about Angie's words or Yem? One of you said something. What did he say?
He said at the parade today that just like TV shows, season 3 is better than season 2. So he's making out that next year is better than this year.
Okay, so he obviously wants to stay. Okay, well, let's not talk about Spurs too much, but I guess the conversation has now obviously officially sort of reared its head. Have Spurs had the better season? And that is a question that was asked in the chat earlier tonight. Now, the facts are that Spurs are lying low in the Premier League. They've lost almost half their games, or maybe over the half their games. They've lost more than 20 games this season. Yet here they are, having won the Europa League to qualify for Champions League football next season. Arsenal, on the other hand, disappointing in both domestic cup competitions, got to the semi-finals of the League Cup, of course, got to the semi-finals of the Champions League only to be beaten by PSG. And, of course, we have got runners-up, hopefully, unless Manchester City win their game by quite a few and we lose at Southampton on Sunday. We should have runners-up secured in the Premier League for the third time in a row. So, Wayne, has Ange had a better season than Arsenal? And I will come to you, Yem, about would you swap their season with ours? But Wayne, you first.
No, of course they haven't. You know,
Is it as clear cut? Of course they haven't.
Yes, it is as clear cut. They're 17th, FK. The only reason,
but they won a trophy. Our own gaffer couldn't win it, and despite trying for 3 years, blah blah blah.
I absolutely. If we were in the Europa League by some bad reason, I would absolutely want us to go and win it because we are in that trophy in that competition. But at the end of the day, when you start the season this season with the aspirations that Tottenham had for finishing in the top 4 and the aspirations that we have to challenge for the league, you're winning a trophy that in reality no one wants to be in. You don't start the season saying, unless you're like Everton or in this case like someone like Nottingham Forest who have probably deserved top 4 all season, they would be happy with the Europa League. We don't start the season and say, I want to qualify for the Europa League. You want to be in the Champions League. Now, it absolutely sucks that Spurs have won this. I felt sick to my stomach that they've won it. But they've lost 21 times this season. They're in 17th place. The only reason they didn't get relegated are because the 3 teams that came up were 3 of the worst teams that the Premier League has ever seen. And one game does not wipe out the majority of the season. It might do for Spurs fans because obviously in that particular moment, they're well within their rights to feel all of the joy, all of the happiness. It's been 17 years without a trophy, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't wipe out the fact that they hated this man for 10 months of their lives. They hated this squad for 10 months of their lives. And it doesn't change the fact that even if they're going to be in the Champions League next year, they're not going to win it. And they're probably going to struggle to get out of the top 24 or whatever it is, because they are not a good footballing side. Now, for me, you know me, I want to win every single competition that we are in. I don't care whether it's the Emirates Cup, the Amsterdam Trophy when we were under Wenger all those years ago, the Carabao, FA. I want to win everything. I want to win everything. But I don't want to win the Europa League because I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in it. And all of this singing, well, they're champions of Europe. Okay. They're not, because you don't hear Leeds singing we're champions of England for winning the championship. It just doesn't happen. So, yeah, they've not had a better season than us. They've had a more memorable one, I suppose you could say, because obviously it ended with a massive trophy for them. But no, stop it. They've not had a better season.
I guess I'm trying to think how I would be on the timelines, presumably quite insufferable, if it was the other way around, if we'd been to the final, beaten Manchester United, which obviously would have meant a lot because of the needle between the two teams over our sort of childhood years and whatnot. And I'd be giving it large. We probably would have had a good day out at today's parade. I'm believing that it was today. I mean, the question was posed earlier about, would you swap the season that Spurs have had with the season that we've had? And before I come to you for your thoughts, Viggs said just a moment ago, sorry to cover you temporarily, says better and successful are 2 different things. I can bet you £1,000. We don't condone betting, but there we are. That they are going out in the Champions League phase next season. They're not meant for high level football. Am I upset? Yes. Would I swap? No. He also went on to say earlier, better season? No. Successful season? Yes. Same as last season's United. Obviously betting there again. Viggs, what are you, money bags? So listen, Yem, would you, as Chan enters the chat, says evening, guys, evening to you, my friend, Lower North Bank, get involved on socials, professional photographer on Arsenal match days, getting some amazing photos of the fan base this season. Love to see you in the house, my man. Yem, would you swap your season this year with Arsenal for Spurs' fortunes from this current campaign?
In hindsight's always a wonderful thing, because you know, as Wayne said, you want to win a trophy. We all do want to win a trophy. That's what we're in the game for. It's a really hard one. Because again, Spurs' finishing position is so low, and it's so bad. The competition, the Europa League was a terrible competition. Without the dropouts from the Champions League, it was just a low grade competition, and it reflected in the final, in that the final was truly awful. I wouldn't swap the season for Spurs' season. I get that you won a trophy and we would be happy. You know, as Wayne said, we would be very happy to win a trophy. I would prefer to be at the sharp end of everything. I would want to play the Real Madrids. I'd want to play the Inter Milans. I'd want to play the big teams. And I just don't think that having that kind of season where you're 17th and you're massively papering over the cracks is what I'd want to have. But again, some people will say I would prefer a trophy over, not having anything meaningful in the season, which is true. You know, again, we haven't got anything to show for where we are, which is at the elite level. But the only thing we have is in the knowledge that we are an elite team, and we're going to play the biggest teams, and we didn't make it this year. That's just the facts. So no, in my opinion, I wouldn't. I want to be in the top tier competitions. I want to be in the best leagues. They want to be in the best leagues. They've got into the Champions League by a technicality, and they're already celebrating by did you see the video of the Tottenham players doing the Champions League theme? You know,
I did see that. That.
That's all. That's honestly, that's the state of the club. That's how low it gets. You'll never, it's a difference in level. We are already there. We've done it, and we've been at the biggest stadiums. They want to be there. They'll be there next year in terms of in the biggest competitions. But no, not for me. I wouldn't swap it at all.
Jonathan Kay says, if they finish 10th, maybe I'd swap. 17th is too low. He says earlier, who finished second in 1984? No one cares about runners-up. And I guess it goes back to your point, Wayne, about trophies being the biggest or the greatest currency in the game. I've just started a poll, because I know how to do these things now, in the live chat on YouTube, only about 30 years too late. 85% of you in the chat who have voted have said they would not swap seasons with Spurs this season, who, of course, have won the competition. Salahuddin says, please delete the poll, FK. I'm not answering that. He's disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. Go on.
Do you know the most silly part of this conversation is the Arsenal fans that are saying, well, why didn't we win it for the 6 or 7 years that we were in it? It was a bloody different competition. I'm not excusing the fact that we got knocked out to Unai Emery and Olympiacos, but those teams, that we were going up against teams that had dropped down from the Champions League. If we had the luck of having the run that Spurs and United had, we would win the competition. But at the end of the day, it was a different competition. So again, I'm not excusing the fact that we didn't win it those years, because we should have at least won one, especially the year that Wenger probably deserved it. But we came up against bloody Atletico Madrid. I don't think either Man United or Spurs faced anyone that good in this run.
Have you seen the list of who they faced?
Yeah,
AZ Alkmaar, Frankfurt, Werder Glimt. Oh my God!
Right. It's a different competition now. It would probably get more respect as a win, like from outsiders looking in, if Champions League teams drop down. But that's the route that they've decided to go down. I don't expect Spurs fans to care about it, because at the end of the day, history is told by the winners, and they won a trophy. So yeah, it's not something that I'm bothered by the fact that Spurs won it, not by the fact that we didn't.
Well, Canterbury Guna has said, FK, it's all sour grapes. You guys would all be out in Leicester Square celebrating if we had won it. And listen, that's my point from earlier. I think I would be behaving very, very differently on the timelines. I'd be obviously enjoying it. When we went out to Baku and we got pumped by Chelsea, I was quite upset about it because I wanted us to win that competition. And of course, our European pedigree isn't quite there. Spurs have won more European trophies than us, and we've got some way to catch up some of the other clubs as well. So I kind of get it from a Spurs perspective. Look, they can only beat what's in front of them. The fact that the rule has changed and the Champions League teams can't drop into that trophy, I guess, is better reward for them. I still think the reward of winning a Champions League spot when no Champions League teams kind of fall in, and when you can finish as low as 16th or 17th, I think that's mental. And I actually think that, if you finish 5th, 6th or 7th in the Premier League, that's much harder to do than to win the Europa League. But at the end of the day, they've won the trophy. Trophies are the biggest currency in the game. And as many of you said in the chat, the record books will only show the winners and not runners-up, not semi-finals, not free kicks against Real Madrid. And that is unfortunately the way that it is. What it does mean, though, is that, we cooked nonetheless, because Manchester United are in complete disarray. Shambles of a club, top to bottom. Ruben Amorim there on the left-hand side, sort of openly admitting, if the board and the fans feel that I'm not the right guy, I will go the next day without any conversation about compensation. We'll have to see if he's a man of his word, but the reports are that he's going to stay. There's rumours now coming out that Bruno Fernandes is going to be sold for £100 million to some Saudi team on £700,000 a week. It would be typical of United to get that sort of luck. But, United are a total mess. I mean, it's a joy to see, and long may it continue. But, if you were a neutral, you would say that this is actually the sad demise of a truly gargantuan football club. Obviously, we take massive joy in it, as I'm sure you can tell from Wayne's reaction. But what has happened to this club, Yem?
It's just gross mismanagement in every sense. From when the Glazers took over and loaded the club with debt, and bought it a leveraged buyout, which is effectively you buy it with debt, to no repairs on Old Trafford, no maintenance on Old Trafford, bleeding the fans dry. And then obviously now Ineos has come in and Jim Ratcliffe has started to wield the axe in the worst way possible with people losing their jobs, which no one wants to see. It is just gross mismanagement in every sense, from buying players, hiring of staff. You brought Dan Ashworth in, and then you fire him 6 months afterward. It's just littered with mismanagement, missteps every time. And I get that United are trying to be a big club, but it feels like, again, that they overreach themselves when they can't do it, because now they are not in that position. They should be trying to get back there, but you can't sign, for example, the top tier players anymore. Don't be that club. You are trying to rebuild to a position, and Ruben Amorim is obviously going to need resources because this team is not good enough. They've bought, Eric Ten Hag's reign was utterly terrible. I know they won a trophy, but the players they bought, Anthony obviously is ripping it up in Spain, but for 100 million, that was a gross mismanagement. And again, you're looking at, the just all of these overinflated wages, overinflated fees, paying out for players who have really not delivered at all in any way, sense, the form. It's just compounded into this kind of what we're seeing now, which unfortunately is that Jim Ratcliffe has felt that unless they wield the axe and make these changes, which I think are quite drastic. Again, I don't know the finances, but they feel very drastic. They can't survive. I don't know the budgets, but if that's true, then they're in a worse state than ever, because can Man United, as the club they feel like, and it feels like a Barcelona type kind of scenario where they cannot handle the limitations of what they are financially and sporting wise. So what they're doing is trying to overpay players, overplay on fees, fail spectacularly, and they're back into the cycle. And I think it will continue. I can't see it changing unless there's a significant shift in the mindset of, well, we can't buy the big players. Let's just try and get people who are going to win us and get us slowly back to where we are. They're not going to. I would be very surprised if players like Cunha, etc., go there. If they are, then they haven't got the ambition that they say they are.
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see players go to United, because they will obviously chuck lots of money at them, and irrespective of how bad they are doing, and we've talked about this before, they find themselves in cup finals even at their worst, and they are just a couple of seasons away from being good. But here's a question for you, Wayne, from Farhan, who says, are United too big to fail? How bad will it get? And that's based on some of the comments in the chat about them being relegated, being worthy of being relegated, particularly if the likes of Leeds and one or two other, Premier League experienced teams come up in the season. What's happened to Yembele? What's he doing there? I don't even know. Is that little sponsorship there, Yem, that you're advertising? What's going on? Oh,
your mic has gone. Your mic has gone. Yeah,
your mic's gone. Right. So Wayne, how bad can it get? Is relegation a genuine fear for them next season?
Maybe not next season, but over the next sort of 2 to 3. Yeah, absolutely. If they don't steady the ship. Man United are the biggest club right now that we're talking about, but massive clubs have been relegated in the past. Look at the way that West Ham went down multiple times, and they kind of yo-yoed for a couple of seasons. And I know they weren't on the stature of Manchester United historically, but West Ham are a big Premier League club. Look at Newcastle. Look at the way Newcastle went down. Look where they are now. They've managed to get new ownership, bring themselves back up and whatnot. But Newcastle, at the time they went down, were a massive club paying big wages to big players at that time. No one expected Newcastle to go down. And like you said, the best example are Leeds United. Leeds United are huge. They're not Manchester United huge, but Leeds United are a massive club in English football. They had to go all the way down to League One. All the way down to League One before they could start building it back up again. And they can't even consistently stay in the Premier League when they do get here. We'll see how they do next season. But no club is too big to be relegated. No club is too big to be, at worst, kind of dissolved. Look at what happened to Rangers in Scotland. No one would have anticipated Rangers to be in the situation they were in. No one would have anticipated Deportivo La Coruña in Spain. Again, they're not to the name level of Manchester United, but they were massive. They were a huge, huge club in Spain. And I don't even know what division they're in anymore. They had to start basically from scratch. So I honestly think that Manchester United are probably lucky for the next couple of years, because I don't think the teams coming up can stay up. I just think that the golfing money and the golfing quality of player that is willing to sign for you is too big. But for me, and I wanted Manchester United to win against Spurs because I didn't want Spurs to win the trophy. If you're Man United, I actually think that not qualifying for the Champions League or Europe in general is the best thing that could have happened to you. You'll take a short-term hit financially, and unfortunately, the people losing their jobs is horrible to hear. But from a pure footballing perspective, the players that they have now will not want to be there because they'll want to play in Europe. The likes of Casemiro on massive wages will probably want to go to somewhere like Saudi. If you can get, you said 100 million for Bruno. If they could get 70 million for Bruno, that's a success. You need to move on from these players. I know that they've been to 5 finals in 5 years, whatever, won 3 of them or whatever it is, 2 of them. But they need to start from scratch. You can't compare it necessarily to what we went through in finishing 8th. But when we were on our come up again, we started from scratch. We were buying like the likes of Ben White, young, unproven at the highest level players on relatively decent wages that can grow with us as we grew. That's what Manchester United need to do now. The problem is their fans still are in the mindset that they're the English Real Madrid and that we have to buy the players that Real Madrid want. We have to buy the players that Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool want. And if they continue to make that mistake and give the big wages to players that are just not going to grow with them, they're there for the paycheck, like the likes of De Ligt. Why on earth did you spend 60 plus million on him and give him 300k a week when you just did not? It was not necessary. It was not necessary. So they need to clear the decks. And I think the only way to do that is them not being in Europe for a while. And I think that they're lucky that the quality from the Championship is just not good enough to really put them in too much realistic trouble.
There's no doubt that there is a massive rebuild required at Manchester United, and that's not just on the pitch. You know, they have stadium issues, facilities issues, club staff issues, personnel issues within the playing squad. You know, they've changed their C-suite. Jim Ratcliffe's come in. Omar Barada's there, the former Manchester City chief executive. They lost. They got Dan Ashworth in, didn't they, from Newcastle? Did they let him go again? I can't remember what happened.
Yeah, they let him go.
Yeah, he's gone.
And that was a total shambles. So everything they are doing, it's like the complete opposite to the Midas touch. Like everything turns to shit. And, you know, I was listening to the sort of Talk Sport radio show this morning, coming back from the school drop for my daughter. And they're just talking around, you know, they have to do a complete overhaul of this entire squad. And they don't know if Ruben Amorim is the man to do it. And I guess linked to transfer. Sorry, Em, were you going to say something?
Who's the director of football at Man United then now? They got rid of Ashworth, but I don't know who.
They got him, and they also signed the former Man City guy. Is it Serrado? Is that his name?
Barada.
He's a chief exec. He's a chief exec, and they've got Jason Wilcox as football operations, which is why they think they're going to sign Liam Delap, because obviously both of them know him. So just on the subject of signings, and I want to get your answers for this, hence the picture on the right hand side, because you know, Garnacho was the one who was the most talented according to United players in their squad, and Kobbie Mainoo, of course, has been linked with Arsenal. We were interested in last summer. That was confirmed by a hand of Arsenal last night in the older group chat, Wayne. But I heard it again a couple of days ago that we're keeping an eye on him. So chat, let me know, who would you nab from the United squad, if anyone, and why? And let me bring up some of the answers, chaps, as we do this. V Vlad says Lenny Yoro. That's about it. Maybe Amad Diallo. Oh, I don't think Yoro's anywhere near the level, especially when you look at what we have at the back. Ahmad's a good shout. He's been injured for some time. Nasir's just not one, to be honest. I am Dan Alpha. Dan, welcome to the show. Says Mainoo and Ahmad are the only two that I would like. Tavo, tongue in cheek here. Chido Obi Martin. Didn't see him play any games this season. Canterbury Guna says Kobbie Mainoo as well. Viggs is just telling you how he feels. Nobody. They are rubbish. Ahmad is decent, but Saka is levels above him, so no point in even getting him. Yem, would you sign anyone from this United squad? If so, why?
Probably only Kobbie Mainoo, and that's as a backup to Declan Rice. Nothing
Kobbie
else.
who?
Kobbie Mainoo.
I thought you said Kobbie Mainoo. Go on.
But that's the only player. That's the only player that I would entertain, because the standard is not there. Some of the players.
Diego Dallo. Can I interest you in him?
Oh God, no.
Sorry, Tavo.
Honestly.
Delict and Mazrai.
Stop it. Stop.
No.
This is not a conversation. I'm not having this conversation. They're crap. Not those two. Man United are crap. There is not one single player that would come to our team and help us in the slightest. No, they're
I'm
garbage.
only saying as a backup. I don't.
No,
none of them
not
start.
even as backup. Not even as backup. No, they're rubbish. They're absolutely rubbish. And not only that, they would come on such high wages that would just not be worth it. They are bin all of them. I don't want any part
That's
of
the
any
biggest
of their
issue.
players.
That's the biggest issue. All of them are overinflated wages because they're not worth that level at all. None of them are. None of them are paid at the appropriate level for their talent. They're all overinflated. I mean, that Bruno Fernandes is being offered 700,000 a week. Shocked me.
I mean, I would be amazed if they managed to sell him for 100 mil. Jonathan does say Bruno in the 8.
Stop it! No. I don't want that rat anywhere near London. I can't. No.
We mentioned his name and he's graced us with his presence. Hand of Arsenal is in the chat, of course. Says, "Evening, my brothers. These lies, it's becoming annoying." Presumably, he's talking about transfers, which we will move on to.
Get well soon. I hope he recovers well from the surgery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even the Arsenal curse just knows no bounds. My tweet,
really does.
His hamstring,
it knows no bounds. Hand of Arsenal is having surgery. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Even our ITKs. He is the GOAT, of course, having surgery. Wish you well. For the record, if we had to sign anyone from United, I think I'd quite like Kobbie Mainoo. But I don't think he's anywhere near the levels that we need, and they are 16th, 17th, whatever it is, for a reason. Speaking of transfers and sticking to Arsenal news, Hand of Ozil has entered chat at exactly the right time. Tamina, of course, was our first chat contributor of tonight's show, saying that Victor Gyökeres was going to be an Arsenal player. News in the last 24 hours, although Hand of Arsenal has confirmed only as recently as 8 o'clock tonight that actually no formal bid had been made by Arsenal. But Benjamin Sesko, Wayne, who of these two gets your juices sort of going, and which of these two would you like to see us sign? Because if you look at the head-to-head stats, these are league stats only. How you weight or how you consider the tax for the leagues that both of these players play in. Sesko, 33 appearances this season in the league. Likewise, Gyökeres, 13 goals. Gyökeres has 39 goals. In fact, Gyökeres has 95 goals in 98 games over 2 seasons. Sesko has 5 assists. Gyökeres 7. Gyökeres gets almost twice as many shots away per 90. Has a higher conversion rate. More than double key passes per 90. And completes more dribbles. But of course, he does play in the Premier League, whereas Sesko plays in the Bundesliga. Wayne, over to you. Take it away. Who of these two, who do you fancy?
I lean a bit more towards...
them. You don't have to sign either of them.
Hey, man. We're signing Alex Isak, remember? Walk with me, FK. But of the two, I prefer Sesko
I'm
to
still
Gyökeres.
talking about Isak.
Listen, Uncle Uno's going to do us a favour. Believe me. Newcastle will lose to Everton on Sunday. Of the two, I prefer Sesko, but just a little bit. I think the only thing for me, I can't look past the quality of the league in Portugal, and that's nothing on Gyökeres. That's just the quality of the league. And I think that Sesko is a little bit more at the age where Arteta can coach him to do some of the things that he wants our number 9 to do. But at the end of the day, I don't care. Just get one of them. Make a decision and just get one of them. If our system and the way that we play and Arteta is as good as a lot of our fans think he is, if you can get Marino to score 9 goals in 17 games or whatever it was, you can get a genuine striker to score 9 goals in that space of time and even more. And you can keep them hopefully fit for the majority of the season and see us get better. I just want a striker, FK. I don't care which one, as long as you are a bona fide number 9 that puts the ball in the back of the net. And I think...
But you do care, though. You do care. I know you said you don't care which one.
I don't. Not this summer, I don't. Normally, every summer, you'd have like your conversations about, I really like this striker. I really like this striker. This summer, I don't have the energy for those conversations because we are at the tipping point of needing to win now. Everyone in the world, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not, know we need a striker. Both of these guys are strikers. They're nothing else. They're just pure out and out number 9. Hit the ball as hard as you can into the goal, score goals. That's what we need. So just get either of them. Everyone in the world knows we need another winger. We need more pace. So I don't care which winger it is, whether it's Bino Gittins, whether it's Nico Williams, whether it's Rodrigo. They all have pace. They can all dribble. They can all play from the left wing. That's what we need. I don't care which one you get. Just do it. Because next season, there's no room for excuses anymore. We've run out of every single excuse that we can have for not winning something. And a lot of Arsenal fans, along the lines of I have to win the Premier League, I have to win the Champions League. I'm not of that opinion. Win me anything, and I'll still believe that we are capable of winning the biggest things next season onwards. But until you can win me anything, I can't believe that you're just going to make the jump and win the Champions League. That's a massive jump to make. But we need to have all of the tools at hand. Striker, left wing, Zubimendi coming in is already a good one. A backup goalkeeper, and hopefully an attacking midfielder as well. I don't care who they are. I really don't care who they are. Just get them in the positions of need and let Mikel Arteta do the rest.
You're getting praise and you're getting some sort of critique here, but O'Malley says, "No, that's not right, Wayne. We need quality badly." What I'd say in response to that, O'Malley, and feel free to respond yourself as well, Wayne, is that I understand where you're coming from, because I think there is a need for quality and I think there is a need for quantity. And I think you're on the side of the fence where you're just so desperate and for a beefier squad where we can go toe to toe until the final weekend. Like, we are sick of these injuries. We are sick of not having enough quality to play in certain games that you just think, just tick us over, get the points on the board and just crack on. Like, not every player has to be an 80, 90, 100 million pound player. Like, it actually, squad depth is just as important as having that quality. But
it's not only that. Sorry, I'm not stupid enough to think that we're going to go and sign Danny Welbeck to be our striker. Like, obviously, we're going to be shopping within that much goes without saying. Like, I don't expect the best of the best. Like, I don't expect us to go out and sign Haaland or sign Mbappe. You're going to sign a top striker, regardless of who it is. Gyökeres and Sesko are both top strikers in different ways. You're going to sign one of those as a top player. We're not going to go and pick up like Dan James from Leeds to be on our left wing. Like, those are not the type of players I'm saying go and buy, because I don't think we're shopping in those baskets anymore.
Lots of really interesting takes on both of these players. Some of you want both. A few of you want Gyökeres because he's immediate, he's short term, he's a little bit older. Yembele. It is a tricky one, according to Jizzle McDizzle. Says Sesko is big and strong, 6'5" frame, 21 years of age. Has been playing in Germany. Gyökeres obviously coming on to 27, has Champions League experience and is just a goal machine, but of course has the Primera Division tax. Do you have a preference, Yem, as to which of these two we get?
It's always been Sesko for me, because I just think every time I've seen him, he's been absolute top quality. Now, I know he's very raw. He's still got a lot to do, but he's got all the physical attributes needed to become an absolute baller. He has got the shots. His shots with his left foot are unreal at some points. He's got heading. He's a big lad. He's got good technique. He's very comfortable in the box in tight spaces, which is what we're going to have. He's very, there was a stat about his reaction time to the ball in the box. He's one of those players who, the game that we play in that we're going to play against teams who are sitting deep or mid-blocking. We don't play against transition teams. Very rarely do we play against transition teams. And they're going to camp out, and he's very adept at playing in that type of space. So for me personally, it is Benjamin Sesko. But I think, like Wayne, and I think like most of the Arsenal fans, I want decisiveness in this hunt. I don't, again, day to day, we're hearing now, oh, it's this player. Oh, it's that player. It's Gyökeres. It's Sesko. Today it's Sesko. And obviously Handa Özil has, of Arsenal has done his, made the statement that nothing has happened yet. But again, what's happening now is that people are moving quickly. Our rivals are moving quickly. We've seen our direct rival for this season, Liverpool, have already started to make the statement signing that they want, in that they've gone for Florian Wirtz. That's not hidden, and they probably will likely wrap it up given the way that it's progressing in terms of what's been reported. I want decisiveness. I want the striker in as soon as possible. I do not want this whole thing with Arsenal where we delay because we think we're cleverer. We want to do this clever move and this clever move. Isak, I have no idea what's going on, but from the outside, Newcastle will get Champions League. So I would put that off the table straight off the bat. Don't try and be clever. Don't try and work through the summer on Isak and trying to make it drawn out. I want my striker in before the preseason starts. I want them working with the front line. I don't care. Again, if it's Gyökeres, fine. I will support him. I'm not his biggest fan. I've already admitted that. But I will accept what the club has gone for. But I want that striker in as soon as possible because I love Havertz. I think he's been such a good player. But it's absolutely clear, and the stats say it, because Mikel Merino is a midfielder that has scored 9 goals and has, got a range of goals. If you put a striker, a truly dedicated striker, and Havertz is not a striker either, you put someone there who's going to convert chances, because we create so many. They are absolutely going to get a number of goals. And I know Gyökeres will get a hatful, and so will Sesko. The only caveat I will put on Benjamin Sesko is it feels like if we miss out on Benjamin Sesko, we are going to have this thing in the back of our head in a couple of years, in 2 to 3 years, when someone else has got him, we'll go, oh, for God's sakes, we should have had him, because we've had that before. And that's personally what I feel, that why I would prefer to go Sesko. So again, my preference Sesko, but just get the player in early. Do not do this whole thing where you're trying to be clever. That's my only requirement.
I think the big thing as well this summer, FK, is I think a lot of Arsenal fans still think that, similar to last summer, we're in the position where a striker alone wins us the league. We can sign either of these two, whether it's Gyökeres or Sesko. We need more than that. We need more than just a striker. Last summer, we could have signed a striker, and I would have confidently said we win the league and we win it comfortably. But I don't think that that's the case this summer.
Yeah, listen, lots of really interesting takes in the chat. Obviously, like I said earlier, a few of you wanting Gyökeres, others wanting Sesko, some of you wanting both. And Josh Miller also saying, by the way, the caveat, it's the absolute statements I don't like reading in the chat. We don't know what these guys will look like in the Premier League. Ultimately, have to trust the team with this one. Every signing is a gamble. We get that. There are, of course, the Bundesliga and Primera Division taxes, but we need a striker. And we need a striker fairly quickly. A question that we had in the Patreon chat, by the way, Wayne and Yen, as I bring up the next slide. Wide players. We'll talk about the contract extension story just on the right-hand side shortly. But wide players, Dan Alpha, Guna73 Dave, asking in the Patreon chat today, left wide players, right wide players, or just wide players in general. Who would you sign? Brian Mbeumo, Yembele, was a player that we've discussed sort of in private on our ways into the Emirates and ways out of the Emirates recently, more recently than ever before. He and Wissa have had 2 tremendous seasons for Brentford. Can you see this guy taking a step up to play for a club like Arsenal?
He feels like that kind of Mane signing, actually. So when Sadio Mane went from Southampton to Liverpool, absolutely banged. He's got that feeling of him. He's Premier League proven. He's got all the attributes to do that. The only caveat is he's a left footer on the right wing, and we already have one of the best in the world. So he would be a second stringer. And really what we need is someone on the left wing with a right foot. So he's a good option, but is he going to be at the top of my list? No. But he's got all the caveats that Mikel likes. He's got pace, he's got ability, he can shoot. He's Premier League proven. But if it's 50 or 60 million, if I'm looking at my laundry list of what I want, he's not at the top. So it's maybe an opportunity signing.
But 50, 60 million isn't actually a lot of money, as Hand of Arsenal just says, cook, yeah. Cook. Just on Mbeumo, 37 games in the Premier League this season, 19 goals and 7 assists. Now, I get it, he takes penalties, but he is playing for Brentford, who respectfully are not a top 4, 5, 6 team. He's 25 years of age. Your comparison to someone like Sadio Mane actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, Wayne, Yem's just said that he is obviously a left-footed player on the right-hand side. Links have been there. And listen, it's not Arsenal's fault. It's not Arteta's fault that these stories are out in the media. Yeah, the media know that Arsenal fans in particular get really hyped when it comes to transfers, and they're going to just chuck out stories all the time. But as wide players go and profiles go and ages go and experience goes, this guy is Premier League proven, settled in the UK, settled in London, is of a good age, reliable fitness-wise, availability-wise. 19 goals, man. That's 1 in 2 in the Premier League for a club like Brentford. Again, respectfully. Surely he's top of that list, as Farhan says. And Mbeumo is brilliant. Would get him just so that Liverpool can't when Salah leaves. Wayne?
He wouldn't be at the top of the list, but he would be a lot higher than I think a lot of Arsenal fans want to currently admit. And I think a lot of that is just because he's not the flashy sort of star name. Everyone's in love with Rodrigo at the minute. And to me, I love Rodrigo. I'd love us to sign him at whatever the cost is. Don't really care about salary. Don't really care about the transfer fee. But to me, that Rodrigo signing kind of feels like the Benzema signing of a number of years ago. It feels like the Aouar signing of a couple of years ago, where Arsenal's name have been linked to someone. We've all fallen in love with it. And when he eventually stays or just it doesn't come to us, everyone's going to be annoyed at the club, when in reality, it was never really as close as maybe the club. And for the club, anyway, it was never as close as like media wanted to put out. But Mbeumo, for me, is a player who, if he comes in, I think it's difficult because we need a left winger. We really do need a left winger. I think the difficulty for me on Mbeumo coming in is more so, and like you said, we're going to talk about contract extensions, offering Trossard any sort of, not necessarily year extension, but a higher salary, whatever the deal might be, and not wanting to sell Martinelli alongside that. I just don't see the room for Trossard and Martinelli and another left winger. So it might make sense to bring someone like Mbeumo in, who could potentially play on that side if he gets a bit better. But more importantly, we can play him on the right when Saka is not necessarily feeling the best, or needs a rest, or needs competition. Or if Saka's just not even playing well, you can put Mbeumo on the right. If Saka can, we've seen Saka drift in centrally in recent games. Maybe he plays a bit more in that Ødegaard position, a bit more central. Maybe we see Saka go back to his roots on the left wing, and we have a front three of Saka on the left and Mbeumo on the right, and whoever is our striker. So I like Mbeumo a lot, and I think for the price point that Brentford would probably charge us in comparison to the likes of Nico Williams, Rodrigo, I think it's a better deal finance-wise. I don't think he's a better player than them. But I think the big thing, and the thing that really impressed me most about Mbeumo, is you mentioned the 19 goals. For me, it's the fact that those 19 goals have come when Ivan Toney left. He stepped up when their biggest and best player left, and they didn't really get a replacement for Toney. That's huge. And that, to me, goes to show that you're ready to step up again. You stepped up for Brentford. You're on course for a 20-goal season. Their best player left. You took that on your shoulders. You got better. So I think in a better team, he could do even more.
Tavo says he'd rather sign Leroy Sané, who is, of course, rumoured to be available on a free if he doesn't sign any contract extension, over Bryan Mbeumo. Lots of people talking about players of Arsenal targets of old. Loic Remy, a shout there, with Julian Draxler and Jan Mvia. Thomas Lemar on a free transfer. But listen, we need to sign someone. There's a shout here for Martinelli to play more centrally next season. Maybe would love a top left wide forward to come in. Rodrigo is a popular shout in the Patreon chat today. And the Masked Cannon says Bryan Mbeumo's best position is on the right. Someone actually saying earlier that Bryan Mbeumo could take the Mikel Merino song. Oh, Bryan Mbeumo. Tell you what, it's ready-made. Tom Canton says that we will keep Trossard and Martinelli and get an addition, says Ian. Tom Canton is well connected, and of course he does go to the press conferences. Maybe he has a point there, but there was a lot of chat about a wide forward. Dave, Dan, Alpha, thanks for all the chat today. And yeah, there we are. Look, there's going to be options. Leroy Sané on a free. Nico Williams is out there. Rodrigo of Real Madrid. Bryan Mbeumo, a proven player. And if, listen, one or two of you have mentioned that Bryan Mbeumo might end up at Newcastle, in which case Anthony Gordon might be released and one to watch, given Arsenal have been interested in him in the past. Contract extensions, chaps, before we wrap up and look at the weekend's fixtures and the sort of race for Champions League football. Always quite difficult to talk about Thomas Partey for obvious reasons, and we're not going to speculate on any of that stuff because, frankly, and I think I speak for both of you when we say we don't really know what's sort of happening. You know, there's speculation out there. I don't want to focus on that. We always focus on the football. But Mikel Arteta, apparently, according to Simon Collins this week, another friend of the channel, has said that he wants Thomas Partey to stay. Wayne, sticking with you, his contract is up. He's had a good season in terms of availability, more games than any season since his arrival. Would you grant him the extension? And if you wouldn't, what do you think Mikel Arteta is thinking here?
No, I wouldn't. And I think Mikel Arteta is thinking what he usually does, which is just kind of to hoard players and just keep them as opposed to like rocking the boat, I suppose. He did it for an extra season with the likes of Nketiah. He did it for an extra year with Emile Smith-Rowe. He's done it with loads of players in the past where we've kept them a year too long rather than letting them go when we probably should have and maybe got the best value for ones that we could sell. For these contract extensions, to me, they're silly because I think we're at a point now where we need to refresh the squad. I think you can only do the same thing so often and expect different results. And I know that he's had his best fitness season this season, but he's been here 5 years and only had 2 fully fit seasons. And I think the biggest thing for me isn't even necessarily the fitness. Obviously, you mentioned we can't talk. We're not in a position really to talk about the stuff off the field, and we don't know about it in full depth. But you can't hide from those. Like you can't hide from it. You can't just brush that under the carpet. And not only that, when he does play on the pitch, he's a liability a lot of times. Yes, he's had good games this season. He really, really has. But at key times, too often in his career at Arsenal, he's let us down and he's been a liability. And the fact that Zubimendi's coming in, cool. You can say, well, he'd be a rotation player. He'd be a backup player. That salary on a backup player, to me, is just not smart. And again, I don't see a situation where it works out well for us to give a 2-3 year extension on whatever salary it might be and expect him, even as a backup player, to stay fully fit for the season. And then even if he does stay fully fit for the season, I don't expect him to come into the team and not let us down at a key point. So I just feel as though it's not only him, it's not only Trossard. There's a few guys in the squad. Some people think Martinelli, the likes of Kivior, some guys like that. It just feels as though this is the right summer for us to kind of refresh a lot of things, not only on the pitch with the players, but the coaching, the kind of style of play, the way that we play, the tempo that we play. It feels as though it's the right time to refresh. So yeah, I'm not on board with the contract extensions that have been discussed recently. And I think the fact that Arteta is willing to do it, again, if it does happen and Arteta gets his way and he keeps the players like Trossard, like Partey that he wants to keep, there's no excuses for you next year. There's none. You've got all of the players that you want in positions that you want. Go and win something. There's no excuses if you get your way.
Mike Jones says, would have loved for Partey to have been moved on, but probably helps us with being able to use our cash elsewhere. Karen says, Teta's lost the plot. V Vlad saying, I don't understand Mikel's obsession. It's the perfect time to let both Trossard and Partey go. Adz, he says, common sense that Partey is renewed, but what if Zubimendi got injured? I'll come back to that in just a minute. There's a lot of chat about Thomas Partey. Lots of people are obviously split in opinion. Yeah, I'm going to get your thoughts on this, but before you go, I want to go. From a football perspective, Wayne, I think you're right in that there have been moments in all of his appearances this season where you just think, wow, the game's just moved past him. Like, I love that he's been available and I love that he's played. And there are things that he does in games, which, if we're being fair, he does really well. Quite a unique player. We've known this, the way he progresses the ball, the octopus, sort of breaking up play, always looks to play forward. I've liked that. But in some games, he's asleep. He makes mistakes. He's not quite as effective as he should be. from a profile perspective, he's the wrong end of his career and he's on a lot of money. He's like top 3, top 5 paid players at the club. And if we were to extend his contract, I can't imagine why we'd want to spend that sort of money on a player who frankly isn't going to get better or faster or fitter and be on the bench. And I will say, from a noise perspective, because you mentioned it, and I don't like to speculate and I don't want to talk about it, but we can't, you're right, we can't ignore this grey cloud hanging over him. Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs. Obviously, we know that there's been stories in the press about an unnamed player. We have no idea how that's going to kind of go. I just think this is such a good is a wrong choice of word. It's the right opportunity for Arsenal to just part company with a player who's not in his low 20s, who's not reasonably well paid, who is not at the best of his game. And of course, all of this noise, which again, I mean, that should be first and foremost. I mean, if anything does come out and it is absolutely him and he's in trouble, then that says more things about Arsenal and Arteta and the way the club is run than anything else. That is the most important thing. But because we don't know enough, I don't really want that to kind of like come into it. From a football perspective, I don't think it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
If we weren't trying to buy so many players this summer, and expensive players at that, i.e. striker, winger, backup goalkeeper, which is going to be expensive, unfortunately, given what we know. Fullback, I would say, yeah, we should be looking to get rid. I think this is borne out the fact that if we look at it with 2020 vision, to get another midfielder who can replace him adequately, and I say adequately, he's got a good skill set. He's an international player. There's no doubt. I think the club probably Berta has probably said, I don't think we're going to get what we want this season. If they're putting their logical hat on, that's the only reason I can think of it, because we're losing Jorginho. We are clearly trying. I think there is a move to put Miles Lewis-Skelly towards the midfield. I think that's where he wants to play. Whether he does is another question. That's for Mikel. But I think trying to display so many players and trying to typically when you're a squad that this close, I get what Wayne's saying about refreshing the squad, but when it's this close and you need additions that are going to truly make the difference, I think Mikel is very much of the mind that I don't want to change, literally carve the team apart. And I think this is just unfortunately a pragmatic arrangement rather than what Mikel would want. I think it's, again, I come back to the laundry list. If you're looking down the laundry list, was the midfielder really at the top? Probably not. And I think, again, it's a misstep from last year in that we should have really got someone, we got Mikel Merino, but really we should have been looking at someone who's going to replace Partey. But that's, again, hindsight. But Jorginho's leaving, and you're getting the replacement in Martin Zubimendi, supposedly. Can you replace Partey? And I know everyone has said he's been off form, but he's still been of a reasonable quality. He does have Braveheart moments, and I there are moments which I think, God, he shouldn't be on the field. But again, to replace that is going to cost at least 30, 40, 50 million. So in my prioritization list, if I'm Berta, I'm saying my striker is my top. I want a winger because that's clearly a need as well. We need someone who is going to help change that front line because it's too stale. And we can talk about Trossard as well next, because that's a different story for me. But then I'm looking at defense as well, because we're losing a lot of left backs and we're losing a lot of depth in the back line. And then you've got that reserve goalkeeper. So it's not, to me, it's again, as I said, it's born out of practicality rather than we're going, he's such a good player, we cannot ignore it. It's not like a Salah situation. It's more of the market is not there. We'll sign him. It's a 1+1 deal. I don't know the wages. If he stays on his current wage, I'd be very surprised, because I don't like the idea of paying someone so high in their 30s. I think that's dangerous. You set a precedent for other ones. But again, Liverpool have done it as well. They've spent 400,000 each on 2 33+ players. Granted, they're much better, but it's still there. I totally agree with both of you in terms of it doesn't feel right, but I'm putting my practical hat on and just saying this is unfortunately part of some bad squad planning over a number of years, and just the necessity of where we are and what we need right now as our priorities.
I get what you mean, I think I disagree on the practical part, because I don't think Arteta would go as open and as honest as he was in answering the question if it was just out of practical. Like, Arteta was passionate about keeping him. Like, anyone can say whatever I don't think he was talking about it from a practical standpoint. He wants him to stay because of the qualities he thinks he brings, or because of this season, because of this season.
I get that, but as well, if I said to you as Mikel Arteta, I can offer you a Partey replacement for 50 million, but you're going to have to compromise your striker budget.
I think he's keeping Partey. I don't think he would take whatever.
I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm just saying it's one of the avenues that if I'm putting my hat on, I think you paying the wages, etc., and looking at your laundry list of what Arteta wants. He wants that striker. He wants that. These are going to be expensive signings in the summer. I just don't think next season, I think if we're serious and we get what we want this season, the next season I would expect a Partey replacement to be at least on the books, or even in the winter window. I know we don't do business really in the winter window. The only caveat I will say is that if an opportunity comes up for a player that they think is on their list of midfield replacements, they may execute it now. Again, it's an opportunity. They are open to opportunities typically. So it's not done and dusted. It feels like, from what Charles Watts said, that this one is done and it's a 1+1 potentially. So it's not insurmountable. It's a season, potentially a second, but we are where we are.
We are where we are, and it's very difficult to talk about because of all the stuff that we've just mentioned. And I will say this is a rhetorical point. Obviously, this stuff is ongoing, right? It's been escalated, according to The Guardian, to the higher authorities. And I guess if Arteta is so clear on wanting to keep him, if anything untoward were to happen with regard to that sort of case, and it happens to be this guy and it happens to be Arsenal, I mean, that says so much terrible stuff about Arsenal and Arteta. And I understand it was a rhetorical point, so I don't want to come back on this or open.
No, but I just want to add one point.
Okay, yeah, you can in just a second. But I understand the complications around suspending a player whilst he's in contract of employment, because that opens up another can of worms. And look, many of you are saying footballistically he's been great this season, and he has. I think we opened this conversation by saying that it's his best season that he's been at Arsenal. But I just think at this stage he's not going to get fitter, stronger, better, cheaper. So for me, it's the right time to move on. Sorry, go on.
No, but as we all know in business, and this is a business, you risk assess your activities. And surely Arsenal at every level, Tim Lewis, Richard Garlick, legal department, Stan Kroenke, all of these guys would have risk assessed this action and said, okay, we're there. The club, as you said, it's on them, but they must have risk assessed this against what they're comfortable with. So something must be there to
I mean, I there's stuff I want to say about that, and maybe we shouldn't sort of say it on air. I kind of agree with what you're saying, Yem. I think the club you would assume they've done their due diligence, but the noise is there, man. And
the noise is always going to be. The noise is going to be there forever now, regardless of what happens now, because it's there.
Jonathan says very complicated to discuss. I think we're just going to leave it there. But listen, I think it is difficult to comment on this, and let's just see what happens. Mikel Arteta, of course, according to Simon Collins, saying that he wants Thomas Partey to stay and to sign. Right. This weekend is the last weekend of Premier League football, and do you know what? I'll be honest, I'm ready to end the stream, end the season, Dave. Not been a good season for Arsenal. However, it looks like we will finish second. That is the title race that everybody wanted, isn't it? Second, we've done it again. Right, that is how the league table looks. Liverpool, of course, champions. They are about to splash 150 million euros on Florian Wirtz. They've obviously signed Jeremy Frimpong, and they might be getting the Bournemouth left back. What's his name? Milos
Kerkez, yeah.
I mean, boys, we talk about intention and action. You were saying earlier, there they are, Premier League champions, identifying 3 players and going for them. In Manchester City, after their midfield maestro from Serie A as well, might I add. It looks like the dominoes are going to fall fairly quickly. But 1 game week left. We are in second place thanks to that victory over Newcastle last weekend. City, of course, in midweek, winning their game and now 3 points behind us. They would have to have a 7-goal and 3-point swing to finish second. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we've secured it. But this weekend, Wayne, is going to be box office. I mean, look at that. Newcastle United in 4th place, just 2 points behind City. Chelsea, level on points. Villa, level on points. And Forest, just a point behind. Now, the games that those guys play. City at home to Fulham. Newcastle at home to Everton. Sorry, City are away to Fulham. Away to Fulham on the last day of the season. You do not want to be going Craven Cottage. Newcastle at home to Everton. Chelsea away to Forest, which is a tasty, tasty game. That's the face that I want to make. Jackson's got there. Villa are playing away at Old Trafford. Wayne, how is this going to go for you this weekend? Who do you fancy to make that top 4?
Are you ready to walk with me, FK?
Come on, right. Let's do one more journey before this tired season is over. Talk to me.
I may have got lost on the way to Munich.
Took the wrong bus,
but we got a detour via Sweden this time. And it's via Alex Isak. Now, one thing I do want to say, FK, is the walk that we were going to go on has been thrown a bit of a curveball. Because I am really proud and really, really happy with what Nottingham Forest have done today in banning Gary Neville from going to their stadium. I was hoping for like a very easy, straightforward couple of results. But now I really, really want Nottingham Forest to be in the Champions League just because they banned Gary Neville. So now, on that, I was also trying to find a way that both Newcastle and Man City dropped out of the Champions League. I don't think that's going to happen now. But Manchester City will beat Fulham on the final day of the season. We'll beat Southampton. We'll finish second. Man City will finish third.
So Liverpool, Arsenal, City, top 3.
Yes.
Right. So let's take me on this story of romance me for 4th.
Everton beat Newcastle on the final day of the season. Right?
At St. James's.
At St. James's. David Moyes.
Moisey, what you got for us, brother?
He's going to do his old son, Arteta, a favour.
You got the job on a technicality.
He's going to do his favourite son, Arteta, a favour, and he's going to beat Newcastle. So Newcastle stay on 66 points.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm there.
Uncle Unai travels to Old Trafford, where they're going to probably all be still crying from what happened. And he batters them.
Yeah, United are absolutely getting beat this weekend. There is no way United get anything this weekend. Heads
so
have gone.
Aston Villa up to 4th.
69.
They're on 69 points. They're in 4th. Newcastle down to 5th. Chelsea down to 6th. Nottingham Forest, who have banned Gary Neville, beat Chelsea at home, where Gary Neville's not allowed to watch, and jumps them all. So Aston Villa will be 4th, Nottingham Forest 5th, Newcastle 6th, Chelsea 7th. Alex Isak hands in a transfer request the next day. He's coming to the Arsenal number 14 shirt. And we don't need to talk about Gyökeres or Sesko because that's our striker for the future. And then everyone wins because the Nottingham Forest Chelsea game is on Sky. And Nottingham Forest will be in the Champions League. And Gary Neville will have to say good things about them while being banned from their stadium. So everyone's going to win. And it's going to be a monumental final day.
Wayne. I'm with you, brother.
There we go. I got you lost to Munich, but we're going to Sweden.
I might go to the Arsenal shirt generator and just put 14 Isak in just to see what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? Yembele, as I sort of just bring up some of the chat, I've asked you guys to let me know in the chat who you think will be third and fourth. Before I do that, there was a chat here from Sam who says, thanks for at least mentioning all the off the pitch stuff with Partey. So many people just brush it off. Very disconcerting. Look, we've not obviously talked about any of that stuff at length, but it is complicated and it exists, which is why we wanted to kind of say it. V Vlad says, Alex Isak, we will be there. We will be there. So who do we think will finish third and fourth? Jonathan K says City to finish third, Newcastle fourth, Villa fifth, which of course means Chelsea miss out on Champions League football, according to Jonathan K. That would be a financial disaster. DJ D10, who was late to tonight's show, what's your excuse, my man? Says Villa and Forest to finish third and fourth. No, City. Ooh, City could go to Fulham and get turned over quite easily. DJ D10's not like, it's not impossible, chaps. I mean, if oh my god, Villa are absolutely going to Old Trafford and they are going to win. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, that'd probably be my first bet. Villa to beat United.
The only issue is the goal difference between City and Forest is too big. So for City to fall out, City to fall out, City would have to lose. Newcastle, Chelsea, and Villa will win, and City will be out.
Okay, interesting. Interesting indeed. Zohaib says City, Newcastle, Villa, and Chelsea. That means Chelsea would miss out on the Champions League. Newcastle, just squeezing in there. Jonathan, same thing. St James's Park. Wayne Bellett, I don't think so. Vig says Villa and Forest. He's praying for Villa and Forest to finish. Dave's in the house says can't see City and Newcastle losing. Yeah, I fancy Newcastle going to batter Everton. Let's not mess about. Newcastle going to batter Everton, and they are going to end up in the Champions League. Although Zahaib says Wayne making us believe, make it happen.
Isak's going to refuse to play again. Isak's going to refuse to play again.
Don't start. Reggie Perry says I fell back in love with you. Yembele, what are we doing? What's happening? Final day of the season. Who's finishing third, fourth, fifth for you?
I think City will finish third, and I'm going to mention a caveat on this one with City in a minute. I can't. I'd love to say David Moyes has something for us, but I think at St James's Park, final day, knowing what's on the line, the St James's Park crowd are going to get into them, and I think Newcastle will win. Although it does depend on Alex Isak's availability, because I thought last week they didn't look as deadly as they would with Isak in the squad.
You mean they don't look the same team with Callum Wilson up top? What are you trying to say, Yembele?
I know Callum Wilson. What a player! Villa are going to beat Man United. There's no doubt of that one. And then obviously you've got the one I want to watch is obviously Forest versus Chelsea, because I would absolutely love Chelsea to be dumped out of the Champions League spots, because this team does not deserve it. It is crooked in every way, and nothing more will satisfy me than seeing Enzo Maresca crying as he's dumped out again out of Chelsea because Todd Bowley doesn't like that. I don't like. I want to be in the Champions League. I want to win, so they can have another shirt sponsor who's.
Is Todd Bowley Polish?
Oh. But as in, they have no shirt sponsor. They have all these crooked deals. I think Forest will beat Chelsea. So that one, I think Nottingham Forest will sneak in. So I'd go Man City, Newcastle, and then Forest as my ones. But here's the caveat that's coming. Obviously,
you just can't answer a question in
because it's
20 fucking seconds. Honestly, go on, yeah, go on.
Oh, please.
Here's the caveat. Yeah, go on. Tell me the caveat.
City's court case. It's still ongoing. So if
nothing's going to happen, yeah, there's no caveat.
They're going to get away.
But if there's a poison,
no, there's not.
They're done, mate. They're just going to get away with it, Yem. Come on.
Yeah.
You should know this already, Yem. Come on.
I live in hope. I always live in hope. If they are deducted, then it doesn't matter what happens here, because I think then you've got Newcastle will move up to third.
I can't see him getting deducted points. It's just going to happen, Yem. It sets such a crazy precedent, and then there's going to be
no, it doesn't. It says that you can't cheat. But I am like you. I still think there's nothing going to happen because it's taken so long that the league is scared. Absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
Someone's chat has really just made me think that Unai's going to choke it at Old Trafford when Man United.
Unai will Unai. You know who he'll do.
Yeah, Farhan says, I see Man United getting a result when it doesn't matter. Donald says, I think Aston Villa will blow it. Yeah,
Europe.
You can't rely on Europe to do anything. You just can't.
But honestly, all credit, and if they do make Champions League or not, they've had a fantastic season, and all credit to Nottingham Forest. I hope that Arsenal do that more. Ban people from the stadium. Start
with Jamie Carragher. Ban him from the Emirates. By the way,
I would love to see the Marinakis meltdown when he doesn't make the Champions League, because he went nuts at the end of the last game, didn't he? Nuno. I just want to be the vibes, when it goes absolutely mental.
He did. Team news, by the way, ahead of Sunday's game, Newcastle-Everton, Wayne. Alex Isak is not trained all week.
But, I told you. Look at the houses in London.
But Eddie Howe still says there's a chance that he could be involved. Everton are also without Jared Branthwaite and Seamus Coleman, who, of course, both suffered soft tissue injuries last week. 2,500 of you watching live across YouTube and Twitter. Please do get involved in the socials, get involved in the chat, support on Patreon, etc., etc. And of course, super chats gratefully received. So on we move to the final slide. Let's wrap up tonight's show because we've been going long enough, as we always do on these Fridays. By the way, farewell, Kevin De Bruyne. Thierry Henry saying that he would have loved to have played with him. He, of course, retired. Pep was in tears. The Premier League has lost a legend, phenomenal player, and he won't be keeping us awake at night anymore. Where do you think he'll go? Do you think just very
Napoli?
Quickly,
Napoli apparently he's got a deal with Napoli.
De Bruyne and McTominay. Oh my God!
He's off to Napoli.
They're replacing him already. They're replacing him with a better model already.
They're playing them together. Oh, De Bruyne and McSauce.
I think
that's too much. I might have to go watch Napoli next
No,
year.
apparently it's done. Apparently the league, it's already done. The contract's been agreed.
Okay, interesting.
Well,
there we go. Right. Look, Southampton, Arsenal. Do we care?
No.
I mean,
end of stream now. End of stream now.
I don't even know. Right. I mean, look, obviously it's a game, 3 points, blah, blah, blah. There's the league table, the final league table. No music. Liverpool have obviously walked it. We are 12 points behind. Manchester City third, Newcastle, Chelsea, Villa. Our opposition tomorrow are Sunday, rooted bottom of the Premier League. And of course, Aaron Ramsdale playing his former club. End the season with a win, says DJD10. Come on, guys, he says. Jonathan said, we don't care. We just don't care. Oh, Farhan, KDB at the Emirates, 1 season special.
No.
Not for me. Not for me.
Get him gone. His reign of terror.
I don't want to see him. Yeah, exactly. He just torments us. Right, chaps. I mean, look, do we even? Let me just bring up the team news. Right? Do we even care?
No Rice. Rice is out. Rice is out.
We will be there.
Do you know what? I care because I want Raya to get the Golden Glove.
Can he get that? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, Southampton versus Arsenal, according to BBC. Right. Taylor Harwood Bellis will miss. Oh, what? What name? Taylor Harwood Bellis.
He sounds like someone you'd vote for at a general election.
I couldn't even tell you what position he plays.
I think he's a midfielder, isn't he?
I believe he might be.
He played for England. He had an England debut recently.
Albert Gronbjek has been struggling with his.
Do you know who his father-in-law is? Roy Keane.
Hang on, whose father-in-law?
Harwood Bellis' father-in-law.
No,
is
it's
Roy
not.
Keane.
That's Tyler Dibbling.
Nope.
Yes, it is.
Harwood Bellis.
I'm pretty sure it's Tyler Dibbling. I'm pretty sure it's Tyler Dibbling.
How many daughters has Roy Keane got? Why are they all dating Southampton players?
Check on Wikipedia.
I'm sure it's Tyler Dibbling.
No,
I thought it was Tyler Dibbling too.
Harwood Bellis. Yeah, I'll
right,
send you the
Tyler.
link.
Tyler
And
Dibbling.
there's literally a video of him talking about my father-in-law.
You might be right, yeah. Yeah, Belly might be right, Wayne. I'll be honest.
2 for 2, boys. 2
when
for
you
2.
said down the
listen, you ain't making up for that Tuck chocolate crap.
No, 2 for 2, boys. 2 for 2.
Tuck chocolate. I mean, honestly, if Farhan says it's Harwood Bellis and Keane, yep. Sadly, he's saying that through gritted teeth. I can tell. Donald says Raya knows this record, so it'll be his man of the match. It'll be typical of Arsenal to replace a goalkeeper after 2 back-to-back Golden Gloves. Yembele with all the gossip, says Zahaib. Look, head to head. Do we care? They're rubbish. Look, we're going to be without Jurien Timber, who, of course, had ankle surgery. Yet another Arsenal person having surgery. Saliba is sidelined because of his hamstring injury that he suffered over Newcastle. So we expect to see Calafiori play a little bit more football, which isn't a bad thing. What are we doing here? So Southampton. Declan Rice, what is he? Is he not?
Should be out as well.
He'll play because Arteta is a lunatic. Southampton have lost 29 league games this season. A 30th defeat, chaps and lasses watching, would set a new Premier League record. Wow! So they've won at home in the league just once this season, and that was 6 months ago, back in November. They've conceded 41 first half goals, more than any other Premier League team, and 43 second half goals that they've conceded is a league record.
So they're beating us, aren't they?
0-0 draw.
No,
draw.
A goalless draw just to finish off the Barclays. In terms of Arsenal stats, we've lost just one of our last 11 in the league. 6 of those have been a draw, so we've dropped some real. But six of them have ended in draws. Oh my God, that's like, what is that? 12 points dropped. Imagine if we had those 12 points, we'd be top of the league. Mikel Arteta's side have conceded 14 first half goals in this season's Premier League, fewer than any other team. Oh, that's heartbreaking. And we scored 22 goals, fewer than 37 games last season. There we are. So look, I mean, just give me a scoreline prediction. I don't think I even want to ask the chat about their scoreline predictions, although chat, feel free to just let me know. There's almost 3,000 of you watching, just chucking a few scores there. What do you think is going to happen Sunday? Southampton versus Arsenal. Wayne, goalless draw, is that what it is for you?
I think we win 2-0.
Okay. So the Golden Glove does come home to David Raya. Yembele, what are you saying?
I'm going to go with a 1-2. I think we'll win. But we've had these bozo moments, and we're fully switched off. We're on the beach already. We were half on the beach last week. We are on the beach. We were. Okay.
Louis says 7-3, presumably to Arsenal, and not Southampton, because that would just be weird. Vig says 4-0. He wants to see Calafiori and Nwaneri. Look, there might be time to change, but we know Mikel Arteta. He's going to start Declan Rice. Dave says it's going to be a dull 1-0. Mike Jones says easy 5-0. Havertz, of course, back in the mix, grabbing out Drake. I think we're going to twat them, but I just don't care. I think we'll go there.
This is going to be the game he starts Neto, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oh God!
Finally, yeah, the day that David Raya finally could win the Golden Glove, he plays Neto.
Because he was psycho.
I'll go 5-0 Arsenal. Come on, why not? 5-0 Arsenal. Away fans, have a lovely day out at Saints. Yeah, send our best wishes to Rambo. Who's obviously going down again in his career.
He'll come back up. Someone will sign him.
He's going Man United. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, maybe. It is not impossible. Reggie Perry says they might wake up and give Raya the undisputed Gold Glove. Does Sterling deserve more minutes? If you've seen Thomas Partey's interview today, quick fire sort of questions on the Arsenal squad, he said that Raheem Sterling is the first to fall asleep literally anywhere, and that doesn't surprise me. Let's be honest. Arteta does have a touchline ban. That's right. He won't be there on the touchline.
Give it to Jorginho to the end of the season.
Yeah, give it Jorginho to the end of the season. I like that. That is that. Right. I think we're going to leave it there. Zohaib says, important question, FK. What are Latte Firm doing in the transfer window? Are Yem, Wayne getting new contracts? Any new signings on the horizon? I'm gonna have to speak to Hand of Ozil just so we can send out a few stories, just to let the speculation go right. But when there's a comunicado oficial, I will let you guys know. I am thinking actually quite hard about doing daily shows, like literally just like a 10-12 minute bulletin every night. What's the noise? What's the transfer? What's the goss? I'll get one of these and others to join. Next season, we're going to shake things up. The Late Night Lounge will still obviously be here. They're proven to be very popular. I quite enjoy them. End of the week, we just get together and we just chat and chill. But we're going to shake things up and we're going to bring in more features, more shows, more regular content. That would be useful. There's been a bit of a blip. The number of videos being produced just because of work and stuff has been quite sort of stagnant, I would say, in the last sort of 2-3 months. And of course, it coincides with the football not quite being at the level that we need to. But the excitement of a new season will bring exciting new content. And of course, the transfer window is set to come. Right. We'll leave it there. If anybody wants to follow these fine two chaps, are available on socials. Yembele is at Verge59. Wayne Bele is at WaynesWorld20 _. I appreciate all of you watching, joining in, and for being in the chat. I mean, look, the chat's still going. So many nice comments. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in on a Friday night. And of course, you can get these on demand on Spotify and Apple and all that sort of jazz. Chaps, any closing words ahead of the final weekend of Barclays?
End the stream now. Honestly, I could be done with this season. I just want to Champions League final is the only one that I want to watch.
We're gonna have an end of season show next week. So bring your tuxedo.
Two things to come.
We'll do an end of... You always didn't want it. My tuxedo. Do you get it?
We're definitely gonna do an end of season sort of review, like player of the season, disappointment of the season, match of the season, goal of the season, blah blah blah. Moment of the season, that'd be obvious, I guess. And we will also do a buy or sell, kiss, marry, avoid, keep, bin, shove, kill, whatever, that sort of scenario for the Arsenal squad. So we'll do that as well in the next coming weeks. And then of course the transfer window will open, and then we've got the World Cup. Is that what
two
it is?
transfer windows, don't we? We get two transfer windows.
Two transfer windows, so that'll be interesting. The chat's wild. I love you guys. Right, we'll leave it there. Look after yourselves. Take care. Enjoy the final weekend of Barclays. It's been a long old season. If only I was as big as the BBC, because I could give you a nice montage, but I can't. So until next time, bye for now.